Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really weird to be up here, so thank you for accepting me, and Fernando, thank you for leading that charge. Welcome to Rotarians and guests. I thought it said, meeting number 5,425. Who would have thought? Nicholas Adams, you want to come up for a moment? Are you here? Hi, Nicholas.
Good to see you, Mr. Past President. Would everyone please stand and join me in God Bless America? I know you guessed. I know. We'll do a different song maybe next week. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairie, to the ocean white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thanks, everyone.
I'd like to thank Doug Smith and the Fun and Friendship Committee for managing the greeting line today. And the next slide should be one that has birthdays. So Nicholas is going to stay up and we're all going to sing happy birthday to these people.
No, I know you know the words to this one, but you don't need to stand up. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Rotarians, happy birthday to you. Thank you.
Isn't Nicholas fabulous, everyone? Give him another round of applause. Love that kid. We're going to do guest introductions now. We've got Steve Preminger and Johnny Camus. Johnny, wave at everyone. Steve, where are you? There's Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve Preminger, County of Santa Clara, Rod Diridon.
Johnny.
I'm Johnny Camus, and my sponsor was Catherine Tompkinson, and former council member of City of San Jose, and now in banking.
Wonderful. Guests and visiting Rotarians, please introduce yourself. Maggie, you want to go first? Oh, you're just walking. That's okay. Carl, oh no, who has a microphone?
I have the mic presidency.
Mr. McKenna, go ahead.
So I'm Mark McKenna. My sponsor was Mike Conniff, and I'm pleased to introduce Jasmine Martinez, who's a student at San Jose State and visiting with us in the mental health program at San Jose State.
Welcome.
Hi, past President Steve. Michelle Loxon, Boys and Girls Clubs of Silicon Valley. My guest today is Tricia Fornese. She joined our team in December as our Director of Events, which includes our golf, Youth of the Year Gala, and the one that touches my heart the most, International Day of the Girl.
Welcome. Thanks, Michelle. Chappie, how are you?
Greetings. I want to introduce my guest, who's a visiting Rotarian, Richard Hackman, who's visiting from the Palo Alto University Rotary, and he's also one of my colleagues on Lighthouse Public Affairs firm.
Welcome, Richard. Thanks for coming.
Hi, President Steve. My guest today, stand up, is past member extraordinaire Debbie Blackwell, now a resident of Spain.
Welcome, Debbie. How are you? Please say hello to Vince for me, Debbie. Who's next? Dave?
President Steve, David Heindel from Hotworks. Brought my very good friend Malcolm Bordelon, former Sharks executive. Not a very good friend. He's a very good friend. Malcolm Bordelon, formerly with the executive with the Sharks and then the publisher of the Business Journal. And I roped him into coming today. I'm very happy.
Malcolm, stand up for a second. Stand up for a second, Malcolm. So I haven't seen Malcolm in, I don't know, 5 or 10 years or something, and those of you who knew him saw that he had this new job in San Diego a few years ago, and we all assumed he moved to San Diego because he hasn't shown his face downtown for about 15 years. So it's really good to see you, Malcolm. Thanks for coming. Who's next?
Hi everyone, Leslie Guardino. I am part of the ROD Squad. I'm a Red Badger, and I am here with my very special guest, Jacob Guardino. He's 7. Say hi.
Hi.
Future Rotarian.
Welcome, thanks.
Not the big guy?
Carl.
Hey, President Steve. We got 2 guests today. First, there's Eric Glatter, who's made downtown vibrant for about a year. Thank you very much. And then we've got Ben Taylor, who's with our San Jose Giants. He's a new executive director.
Welcome, Ben. Welcome, Eric. Thanks for coming. Larry.
Past President Steve, I have 2 guests today. One is Lori Lamley, who she is my confidential secretary, and my wife, Carmen.
We call her Saint Carmen for obvious reasons. Rod.
Your Royal Highness, in waiting, or in past, I guess, my very important friend and buddy and leader of my household, Dr. Gloria Duffy.
Welcome, Gloria. Anyone else? Johnny, Steve, we good? Thank you. Next up, what could be better than Brian Adams up at the dais? And Brian is here to introduce a new member, Kimberly Hill. And Brian, don't hold on to this thing too tightly, okay?
Okay, all right. How are you, bud? It's a great pleasure for me to introduce Kimberly Moan Hill as the newest member of the Rotary Club of San Jose. Kim is a native of San Jose, born at O'Connor Hospital. She graduated in theater arts with honors from San Jose State University. Go Spartans. She went on to graduate from the prestigious ACT MFA program. Kim is a full professor at Santa Clara University's theater department with an emphasis on acting, voice, speech, and dialects, and is currently department chair. SCU is where Kim had a front row seat as a relationship developed between my youngest son, Jeffrey, and his classmate, Monique, both theater majors who would later be married. Kim is, so for a good contribution to the endowment, she'll fill you in. Kim is also a professional actor, director, and dialect coach. She's coached dialects for more than 175 productions throughout the Bay Area, including most recently at San Jose Stage Company's production of People Where They Are, which ends its run this weekend. Kim's late husband, Dave, was an award-winning Teacher of the Year for his amazing impact on his math students at Dartmouth Middle School. In addition to her impressive professional work, Kim is the awesome mother of 2 amazing daughters who are both Santa Clara University students. Kristen, majoring in theater arts and leadership communication, and Kenzie, majoring in environmental studies and sustainability. Please join me in welcoming someone I'm privileged to call a friend and who we are all privileged to call our club's newest member, Kim Hill.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be introduced and sponsored by Brian. I'm so thankful for his friendship and for bringing me to Rotary, where I hope to have an impact and service, especially in the area of the performing arts. So I'm really looking forward to joining the committees that have anything to do with performing arts. And the leadership, I'm still new, there's a leadership committee, ELC, so I'm hopefully going to get involved in that. And my plug for my projects right now, please go see People Where They Are. It's a really hard-hitting, amazing play. The next show I'm working on with my daughter is also at San Jose Stage Company, The Hangman, and I'm working on 39 Steps right now up at San Francisco Playhouse, and I have about 17 dialects rolling around in my head right now. So we can talk about that at the break if you want. Thank you so much.
She learns quickly. She's already selling something to all of us. That's really good. But I think that's worthy of a fine for Brian for not preparing that properly. So Brian, how about $100? Next up, Matt Bell talking about membership. Come on up, Matt.
President Steve, nice to be back up here with you after a few years. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was you who appointed me to this very small, low-stress role here in Rotary for membership chair. Thank you for that, by the way. Love seeing the new member introductions, of course. And, I get up here once a month and give you the nice update and really try to encourage you all to, join in the process of recruiting Rotarians and really giving this gift of Rotary. So I'm happy to do that again, but I want to reiterate some of the numbers that I shared last time, just to give you some perspective about where we are. We started the year at 417. We have some natural attrition like we do just about every year, but pretty significant this year. You can see how we arrived at some of those. And then to date, we've added 19 new members, which is really kind of behind the pace of where we'd like to be, and about halfway, as you can do the math here, to getting just to break even for the year. And of course, we want to do better than that. This past month, Rotarians sponsored 3 new members, and those sponsors are Catherine Tompkinson, who's a great recruiter, by the way, Janica Clem, and our very own President-elect Heather Lerner. So thank you for your sponsorship of those new Rotarians. I want to share just a little more context here, though. The current membership is 379, so for the first time in many years, under 400. And we've talked a lot about a lot of the reasons why we want to be at 400 plus and to maintain our ability to give a lot back to the community, for the foundation revenue that we generate as well, and just having great parties and great social activities with this number and paying for this excellent staff that we have. Just a few short years ago, 4 years ago, we were at 469 under, I think it was President Karen's tenure. So that's really a net loss of 90 members in just 4 years, and about 22 per year. And I'm sorry to say we're sort of on track for another deficit year if we don't do something different at this time. I learned some other just kind of challenging news is that district-wide, this club, the greatest Rotary club in the world, is the biggest loser in the district thus far. Now, I hate to say it, it gives me pain to say that. I'm a competitive person too, and this is not all just about numbers, but you can see if we keep doing what we're doing, we're just gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller. And of course, I'll just acknowledge, because we're the biggest club, our numbers are gonna look disproportionately larger, whether they're gains or decreases. But as a percentage, we're among the highest as well. And if you take a look at a couple of our other, the larger clubs, Oakland, and right here in Cupertino, the 2 other larger clubs in the district, they both have net additions in this year of 10 and 9 respectively. So what they're doing is what we need to be doing, which is making sure everyone is involved in the recruiting process. So let's spring into Rotary. And I say that because typically in the years past, March, April, May are our biggest months, I should say, for recruiting. So we're doing a couple of things differently now. We have created a subcommittee with Rod, Bunny, Karen, John Ball, and myself, really doing proactive outreach to identify new prospective members and actually proactively seek them as a committee. Getting back to our old days, when I first joined Rotary 21 years ago, Rod recruited me to be on that committee, and it was specific to membership development. There were 2 committees back then. They've since merged, but we're getting back to that. I talked to President Karen about this, and she has agreed she would like to reach out to all the committee chairs and really encourage each committee together to put this on the agenda to try to come up with 1 new member per year, 1 new quality new member per year per committee. And if we all did that year in and year out, that's 40 plus new members just right there through that activity. Yeah, thank you. So we're still doing the why aren't they in Rotary. If you see anybody or meet anybody and you think like, why aren't they in Rotary? Please send their info to me, not any of these other people, because we're actually competing for this prize of the Capitol Club. So just send it to Matt Bell and I'm in the book. So the other thing is we've made a little change. As you know, when you bring a guest to Rotary, if you call the Rotary office in advance, they get to eat for free. Now, both of you eat for free. So a little incentive to, where's Leslie? She's probably saying, what? That is true. Karen said so. She said okay. My idea, but she agreed. So, and then the other thing I just did the other day, last thing here, is I sent out a post. I think some of you may have seen it because some of you liked it. And then I saw James Williams did the same thing. I just sent a post that said, ever think about joining Rotary? The greatest club in the world happens to be right here. Come join me for lunch. I have 4 people who responded to it who are interested in coming to check out Rotary. So you might want to do it yourselves too. So thank you. I really encourage you to really focus on this for the next few months, and let's see if we can kind of turn things around. Thank you.
Just a reminder, Rotary is a gift. It's a gift you give to your friends. We're not out trying to sell snake oil. We have the most wonderful club in the world, and we do beautiful work. And I'll say, I've been in Rotary for over 30 years, that almost all of my best friends in the world, including a number of you, are all people that I either met in Rotary or developed a deeper bond in Rotary. So just remember, it's a gift when you call people, so feel good about it. Next up is Doug Smith, and he's going to talk about the Greeting Line Committee update. Doug.
Hello. So, with the Fun and Friendship Committee coming up next on March 16th, do we have a, I think we had a, do we have a slide? Oh, there we go. How do we play our little intro? There we go. March 16th, again, we're at it. This is a, missing the audio. But hey, so again, this is our yearly mini masters that we do. This is a big event. This is a big serious thing we do yearly with non-serious awards. You need to show up. Here's a great recruitment idea, okay? Bring your friends, invite your friends to the mini masters so they will be hooked into joining Rotary with us. Here's your opportunity. Sign up, you'll have flyers on your tables. To sign up, you can sign up in the lobby or you can sign up through the website. Also coming up in May is our firesides. The firesides are basically socials that you hold at your own home. So we need, for the firesides, we need happy hours, we need a games night, we need a poker night, sing-along night. Or you come up with the idea and they will come. So email me, the information's on the flyer, and we will, and invite your friends. Great recruiting ideas.
Thank you, Doug. Todd Trickell is now going to bring us up to speed on Fish Day. Todd.
How do I advance this? Good afternoon. Come on. Thank you. By way of thunderous applause, how many of you have participated in the Rotary Fish Day in the past? Louder. Okay. By show of hands, how many of you think Rotary Fish Day is spending a day drinking Rombauer on Vic Giacaloni's boat in the Monterey Bay? Yeah, Rob Silva, you think that's what it is. That is not the case. Okay, so I'm excited to announce that Rotary Fish Day is back this year, scheduled as you see, April 20th, Saturday, April 20th at Sandy Wool Lake in the hills above Milpitas. As a friendly little reminder, Rotary Fish Day, it's really a partnership with South Bay Fish in the City, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, the City of San Jose, and Santa Clara County Parks to deliver a first-class outdoor experience for 125 third graders from here in San Jose. So far, we have commitments from Washington Elementary School, our elementary school, right? Go Washington Elementary. And Evergreen Elementary with asks out to Mount Pleasant Unified as well. For many of these students, this will be the first time that they've had the opportunity to hold a fishing pole in their hand. And if we are very still and quiet, maybe the first time that they will have ever felt the tug of a fish on the end of their line. The thrill of a third grader catching a fish keeps many of us coming back year after year. I have some program objectives. We're going to skip that. It's really broken down into 2 parts. Fishing 101 is an in-classroom experience. We typically do that a couple days prior to the event. We actually teach the kids basic knot tying, overhead casting, fishing safety, all those fun things. There's a group of us that go out to those elementary schools and teach them. The second half of the program actually takes place at Sandy Wool Park. And that's where the kids get to apply the skills that they learned a couple days before up at Sandy Wool. So it's a really fun day. What happens, we volunteers get there early, 7:30. I know it's a little early for some of you. We will have coffee and donuts. We get the polls put together, and then we welcome the students in around 8 o'clock. We patch them up, or excuse me, we pair them up with fishing guides. Now, I use that term loosely because last year we caught one fish. We spent $10,000 last year to put on the event. We caught one fish. Do the math. Okay, so Okay, so we get them out to the lake, and then we fish. Well, we attempt to fish. It's kind of mayhem, but we make it happen, okay? So it's a great time. They're doing the fishing. Now, if everything goes according to plan, they actually catch fish. And when they do, we actually take those fish to our very own Sean Cottle, who cleans them for us. Right, Sean? Yeah, come on, Sean. So we get those fish nice and clean, and then we feed them. Thanks to our executive chefs, Los Amigos, and others, we feed the kids a great meal. And then when we're done feeding the kids, we feed ourselves. Once again, executive chefs prepare a tri-tip lunch for us. How many executive chefs does it take to cut some tri-tip? We'll leave that one alone. After lunch, we take some photos of the kids so we can keep this in our memory. And then we, of course, Rotarians, no Rotary event is the same without some photos of ourselves. So I need volunteers. We as our committee need volunteers. Fishing guides, no experience needed, which is great. Student and volunteer registration, I need help with that. Parking lot attendants, fish cleaning to help with Sean, and food line. This is when the event is, as I shared with you. And then if you are hooked, you're intrigued by what we just talked about this afternoon, I have 6 different ways for you to sign up. We have QR codes on table tents that should be on your table. You can just scan those things. You can email me, todd@hunterproperties.com, or you can even text me, or just see me here at the end of the meeting. So hope you can all come out and join us. We'd love to have you. It's a wonderful event. So thank you.
Come on up, Herb. So next up, we have the district governor-elect, Herb Ritter, and he's going to entertain you guys for a couple minutes.
Actually, it's nominee, and it's not till 2025 that you get to hear from me. So I'm here just to visit the world's greatest Rotary Club, San Jose. To caveat that, the world's greatest Rotary Club that meets on Wednesdays at 12 noon at San Jose. Because there's 63 greatest Rotary Clubs in the world. How many of you think you're the greatest Rotary Club in the world? All right. You all should. I just wanted to say a few things. My year, I'm excited about it. I joined Rotary when I was 24, about 10 years ago. Anybody believe that one? No, my passion has been in Rotary. My dad was in Rotary growing up. I've been in Rotary about 34 years. Actually, today is my dad's 100th birthday. So, happy birthday in heaven, Dad. I've enjoyed every minute of Rotary. One thing that I've always been taught through my life is to do things that are uncomfortable. Can you guys cross your arms for a second? Cross them. Now cross them the other way. Put the other hand on top, for those that don't understand other way. It feels a little weird. Well, it's always a little strange. When I was 24 signing up for Rotary, when I said, yes, I will do a club president job during Rick King's year, saying, yes, I'll be an assistant governor, saying, yes, I will bring a guest. I love seeing, Kim, where are you? Congratulations, you've just joined an amazing Rotary Club. This club does amazing things. I'm still learning about what this club does. You guys, you all were on a rocket ship, 2017 to 19 with membership, and I'm super excited about where it's going. One of my big goals is to help the district. We have almost 4,000 members reach 5,170 members. That's our number. That's kind of an inside goal, and we need this club to reach 500 members for all of us to get to that next goal. And I really think we can. We got to keep it fun, not just listen to past district governors talk all the time. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to work with all you. I encourage you to look for me on Facebook. I'm looking for a group of fun leaders, and I got 20 minutes, Steve, is that right? Yeah, that's how it usually goes in Rotary. But I'm super excited also to introduce the person that comes after me, Gita Canby. Please welcome Gita. She's from the Rotary Club of Fremont Bridge. And Jill Durig, who you'll get to see after Hung this year, is the next district governor. And we have a great compassion for Rotary. There's a lot of things we all need to learn from you. This is one of the best and greatest Rotary clubs in our district, and I'm excited to learn more about it. And Steve, you're an amazing past president, from what I hear. And maybe future district governor? I haven't heard that yet, but maybe we will. No, but thank you very much. Please reach out to me. I'm looking forward to learning from you, and have a great time. And please make sure you meet Gita. She follows me after my year in 2025-26. Thank you. Oh, President-elect Heather, there you are. She gets to be in this next year, so welcome. Thank you all.
By the way, for you non-Rotary nerds, the 5170 is our district. So that's why he talked about 5,170. So that's just one more step toward Rotary nerddom for all of you. I want to thank Maggie Padavani for reminding me that February 23rd is World Rotary Day. 119 years since Paul Harris founded Rotary. And if you think about going out and trying to get members for an organization that has 1 million members in the world now, and you're sort of feeling stressed, I really liked what Matt said, just invite a bunch of people. You'll be surprised who says yes. But Paul Harris just started as one guy with this idea of inviting some friends and having this Rotary thing where they took turns having lunch, and here we are with 1 million members 119 years later. So let that be an inspiration. Also, over the years, this has become known as World Peace and Understanding Day. World Peace and Understanding Day, and God knows the world could use a lot more of that right now. So thanks, Paul Harris, for having this vision and planting these seeds that ended up with all of us and a million other people in the world trying to do good work. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, who is Larry Stone. Everyone enjoy. Treat Larry with kid gloves, please. You know he's very sensitive.
All right, let me get organized here. Well, thank you. The first thing I want to do is to reflect on what has occurred in our local economy since I last spoke to you a year ago this month. As the county began to recover from COVID in the last half of 2021, Americans started to spend at record levels. First on the good side of the economy, and then on the services side. The economy came roaring out of COVID recession. Consumers couldn't stop spending, and prices couldn't stop rising. Consumer spending is the primary source of the U.S. economy, accounting for 70% of economic activity. The U.S. economy ran headfirst into a perfect storm of high demand and low supply, soaring prices, and rising interest rates. Robust consumer spending, combined with widespread product and worker shortages, created the highest inflation since the 1980s. Inflation wiped out 76% of the gains in wages and salaries which flowed to American workers during COVID. At the time, the cost of living inflated by 19%. The Fed has increased interest rates 11 times in an attempt to rein in both wages and prices to tame persistently high inflation. Suddenly, in the middle of last year, prices started dropping faster than economists expected. In December, the consumer price index was 3.4%, well below the 9% in the mid-2022. The Bay Area inflation index was even lower at 2.6% in December. By most measures, the U.S. economy is strong, the job market is surging, and unemployment is at its lowest level in decades. Inflation has slowed down, and wage gains are now outstripping price increases. Unexpectedly, the U.S. generated 355,000 new jobs in the month of January. which diminishes the prospect that the Fed will commence interest rate reductions before July. The labor market continues to defy expectations, recording 35 consecutive months of job growth, giving Americans the power to keep spending, of course. The economy right now is resilient, even in spite of all this turmoil. The story is different, however, in the technology sector. Since mid-2022, high-profile technical companies, we all know who they are: PayPal, Google, Amazon, Salesforce, Microsoft, Meta, Intel, Oracle, Roku, Twitter, Seagate, and Cisco, and several others, have announced large-scale job cuts. More than 16,800 jobs were lost in the tech industry. The collapse of 4 banks also added a lot of uncertainty to the economy. A more serious problem, however, in California is California's contracting labor supply. California has added more than 440,000 jobs since the pandemic, yet there are still 168,000 fewer workers in California's labor force. Teachers, nurses, law enforcement, skilled workers, fast food workers, all of them are in demand and short supply. Silicon Valley's labor force is the lowest it's been since 2022. 4 million U.S. workers quit their jobs in 2022, and 3 million dropped out of the labor force altogether. That's unprecedented. COVID also gave people more time to rethink their lives and their careers, and many have decided to pitch previous jobs in industries like restaurants and hospitality for higher pay and benefits in transportation and warehousing, for example, providing a more consistent work schedule. Finally, retirements accelerated during COVID. The U.S. labor market is both resilient and perplexing. For example, the Gen Z generation is smaller than the millennial generation. Older adults outnumber children for the first time in U.S. history. Life expectancy in the U.S. has dropped to its lowest level since 1996. California's population fell 1.2% between 2020 and 2022, and the Bay Area's population dropped 3% during the same period. The long-term future of the job market is somewhat clouded, as more baby boomers have left the labor force than millennials, those born after 1980, and Gen Zers born after 1996 are entering the labor force. In the long term, this could have serious consequences. You know, baby boomers grew up in households of 3 to 4 children. Demographers tell us that millennials are having an average of 1.2 children. Consequently, there won't be sufficient Gen Zers, the children of millennials, to maintain a stable workforce in the future. Silicon Valley needs immigration. We simply need more foreign workers. Americans, however, have demonized immigration and the political rhetoric that goes along with it. Fortunately, the Bay Area is faring recently a little bit better. With the easing of restrictions by the Biden administration, the immigrants from other countries have increased 174% in the Bay Area. So where are we today? How would I describe today's economy? Well, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and certainly unpredictable. Geopolitical problems, which are often out of our control, create also significant uncertainty. For example, the attacks against merchant ships in the Red Sea, a key transit route for global commerce, can quickly impact the cost of goods. There are some concerning headwinds at this very moment. A government shutdown could take tens of thousands of government workers off of payrolls, drastically reducing consumer spending. Long term, however, the Bay Area economic challenges remain the same: housing, transportation, and economic competitiveness. California is a large, diverse economy. We know that. And that diversity is our strength because it creates broader economic base. Silicon Valley's economy is structured to resist long-term declines in economic activity. Big tech has a special kind of resilience because innovation is the driving force behind our success. Economic uncertainty and COVID didn't stop venture capital investments, however. Venture capital, led by a record number of mega deals in the Bay Area, accounted for nearly 40% of all VC investments in the U.S. in 2020 and 2021. The Bay Area accounted for 24% of all tech jobs in the U.S. 20,000 patents were granted to Silicon Valley companies in 2022. Fast forward to 2023. The number of VC deals dropped 44%, and the money raised is down 80% from a 5-year average. That's a 10-year low. Long term, however, the outlook for Silicon Valley and its economy is bright. Electric vehicles, battery technologies, artificial intelligence, and clean energy will keep Silicon Valley high on the list of economic successes for some time to come. So what are some of the economic implications of the pandemic on our real estate markets? Well, the most obvious, the travel, hospitality, and leisure sectors, they were hit first and hit hardest. Hotels that depend primarily on business travelers, which is the largest source of hotel revenue, have been slow to recover. In San Francisco, business travel is down 40%, with the whole hotel occupancy at just 68%. The lack of conferences and conventions, in addition to the decline in international travelers, is the reason for that. 2 of San Francisco's largest Union Square hotels have defaulted on their loans. Hotel bookings in San Jose are down, and restaurants are even worse. In Santa Clara County, hotel investments suddenly stopped in 2023 after a torrent of new hotels in 2021 and 22. The airlines and hospitality industry are dependent upon each other. Leisure business travel has increased as the public gains confidence in the health and safety of airline travel. As businesses, however, become comfortable with Zoom and webinars, this could have a more permanent impact on business travel and ultimately on lodging. Well, the next sector is the retail sector. The increasing prevalence of online shopping versus traditional brick and mortar stores all point in the same direction. Online sales continue to grow exponentially faster than in-store sales. Bloomberg reported that 11,000 restaurants, more than 10% of all restaurants in the country, closed permanently. The retail landscape is really mixed. Fueled by stronger than expected consumer spending, top-tier malls are recovering nicely, reflecting the resiliency of consumer spending. Lower-tier malls, not so much. The French company, the principal owner of Valley Fair and Oak Ridge malls right here in San Jose, they are the largest owner of malls in the world, announced last year that it will divest the company of all malls in the U.S. over the next 3 years. And guess what? Just last week, the company announced that they are in escrow to sell Oak Ridge Mall to a local buyer. The Paseo, a 600,000 square foot, 120 store mall on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, covering 3 city blocks, was acquired via a deed in lieu when the owner defaulted on the loan. Westfield Mall in San Francisco surrendered the city's biggest shopping center back to the lender. The U.S. is simply overstored. The average retail store size in the U.S. is the smallest in 17 years, reflecting the increase in online shopping for basic commodities. Local elected leaders must give up their love affair with the retail shopping centers for the sales tax revenue, as in-store retail, in my opinion, is a declining enterprise. With the inevitability of autonomous cars, vast surface parking lots, however, present an opportunity for housing development. One retail leader described it as the 3 C's: closures, consolidations, and contractions. Excess Space Solutions Company projected that retailers are expected to downsize their storefront space by 40 to 50% over the next 10 years. Nevertheless, e-commerce sales still represent only 19% of total retail sales, while 4 in every 5 U.S. consumers regularly shop online, and 40% of those online shoppers buy something on Amazon once a month. In my household, it's like once a week, or maybe even twice a week, right, Carmen? So are there some winners? Yes, there are. Walmart, Target, Costco, and Amazon. Amazon's market cap is greater than the market cap of the other top 15 retailers combined. And those other retailers are Walmart, Costco, Target, Nordstrom's, Best Buy, and 10 others. Think about that. Many believe that Amazon, Apple, Google, and Facebook are abusive monopolies and our markets are no longer competitive. Google has a 92% market share and accounts for 22% of the S&P 500 all by itself. Apple owns 4 of the 5 biggest apps and 79% of the smartphone profits. Facebook has 2 billion subscribers, nearly as many as Christianity has followers. Apple recently became a $3 trillion company. That's greater than the GDP of the United Kingdom. 3 companies, Google, Apple, and Facebook, account for 20% of all tech jobs in Silicon Valley. So, global unrest, a volatile stock market, tech layoffs, and a 60% increase in mortgage rates, which is a 23-year high, has pushed monthly mortgage payments beyond what buyers can afford. The Bay Area home sales have plummeted, declining 24% last year. That's the lowest in 30 years. But new listings and for sale inventory remain historically low. Multiple buyers for fewer homes for sale have caused prices to increase 12.6%. Locally, the housing crisis is more of a supply problem than an affordability problem. Bay Area home prices are more volatile than the national average. They typically rise faster during boom times and fall further during recessions, again, because our region is tied to the boom-bust tech sector. In Silicon Valley, however, luxury home sales are often impacted more by the stock market than by mortgage rates. Wealthy tech professionals, driven by record stock prices and low interest rates, were purchasing expensive homes, frequently all cash. With the astronomical home prices and high interest rates, wannabe home buyers were forced to rent, which I think should drive some demand for apartments. Many potential home buyers have concluded recently that the economics of renting is better than buying at the moment. 70% of San Francisco's office tenants have not renewed their lease when they came due, 70%. And 1/3 of those tenants who have renewed their lease have downsized their space. Boston Properties halted construction for the second time on Platform 16, a 1.1 million square foot office building right here in San Jose. The company stopped construction when COVID hit in 2020, resumed construction in 2022, and then suspended it again amid a feeble office market. There is $1.1 trillion of commercial real estate debt coming due this year. Much of it will have to be refinanced at higher interest rates. I expect that the office market to remain slow to recover until the tech sector recovers and corporate leaders are successful in demanding that employees return to the office full-time. Small businesses continue to grapple with inflation, high interest rates, and labor shortages. There is increasing interest, and I think you've read about this, in converting vacant office buildings to residential use. Well, I believe that most modern office buildings with large floor plates are not physically or economically convertible. Older Class B and C office and retail properties may be eligible for conversion. The Silicon Valley industrial and warehouse markets recorded a vacancy rate of just 3.9% at the end of the year, reflecting a difference in workplace dynamics because many industrial jobs must be performed on site. Data centers are hot and getting hotter. Demand is strong and vacancies are low. Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are demanding more and more space in data centers. AI requires 5 times more power and space than traditional tenants in data centers. 5G, and I just read the other day, they say 6G is on the way in about the next 5 years. 5G, LiDAR, e-commerce streaming services, GPS, cloud computing, cameras on autonomous automobiles will generate terabytes of data every day. And listen to this. There are 550 million emails and posts every minute. The increase in online shopping has created a demand for more logistic facilities. As consumers shift from in-store purchasing to online, and consumers demand faster shipment, often same-day delivery, e-commerce distribution centers must be located closer to city centers. McKinsey & Company analyzed the impact of automation on job growth and concluded that 46% of jobs could be replaced by the current methods of automation by 2030. For example, there are 3.5 million truck drivers and 700,000 bus drivers who will be displaced by autonomous trucks and buses. Goldman Sachs said last month, they estimate that 1/4 of all jobs will be completely eliminated by AI. AI, in addition to teleworking, accounts for a significant portion of our office vacancies. And finally, I would like to comment on the concern over the great California exodus, known as the doom loop. While it's a concerning trend, it is not a crisis. From 2020 to 2023, 600,000 Californians moved out of the state, and 263,000 moved to California from other states. That's a net loss of 337,000 people, or less than 1% in a state of 40 million people. Hardly a crisis. What is disturbing, however, that those fleeing this state took $29 billion of taxable income with them compared to the taxable income of new Californians brought to the state, a 30% reduction in income lost. So where did these Californians go? Well, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Washington, and Oregon. And where did these new Californians come from? Well, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Washington, and New York. San Jose lost 50,000 residents since 2020, dropping San Jose from the 10th largest city in the U.S. to the 12th largest city in the U.S. 60% of employees who left San Jose and Silicon Valley, however, stayed in Northern California, primarily for cheaper housing. There are many things that affect the loss of population besides Californians fleeing to Texas and Arizona. A decrease in births. The California birth rate is at an all-time low. Reduced immigration, a rise in deaths, many COVID-related, and fewer people coming to California and Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, only 4 major companies have left California. By and large, their workforce didn't follow. Tesla is still manufacturing automobiles in Fremont. In 2022, Tesla leased a 325,000 square foot building in North San Jose, and last year, in a 320,000 square foot building in Palo Alto. Recently, California passed Germany as the 4th largest economy in the world. Now, you never want to lose population because recently, California, as we all know, lost a congressional seat. But a crisis? No. A concerning trend? Probably. The global attraction of big tech in Silicon Valley is not going to contract anytime soon. 80% of all tech R&D occurs right here in Silicon Valley, and that's not going to change anytime soon either. So I think the demise of Silicon Valley and California is grossly exaggerated. And maybe the doom loop is just another loop-de-loop. So these are my observations today, but in this economy, tomorrow could be completely different, as my speech this year is completely different than the one I did a year ago. So stay tuned. Now, if you have any questions, I think we have some time for that. Fernando.
Can you explain Governor Newsom's concern, what he thinks is the deficit in our income and what the Office of Economic...
Yeah, I can explain it in one word: politics.
Okay.
The governor is going to run for president, I hope so, in 2028. So, and he's leaving office at the end of this term. So the idea of him sucking it up, if you will, he's going to pass that on to the next governor.
Carl, then Rod.
Thanks, Steve. Larry, thanks for your lifetime of service to Sunnyvale and to our county as well.
Thank you.
I appreciated your feedback in a data-driven, fact-based way about the innovation economy and how it is continuing to strengthen here in Silicon Valley. What do you see relative to initial public offerings over this next year, which takes not only the right market conditions, but obviously the health of individual companies?
Well, public offerings are really driven in this area, obviously, by tech companies. And tech companies have been shedding jobs, as I said, 16,000 jobs. But I believe in the tech sector. I believe in Silicon Valley. I believe in California. And we've had, I mean, since I was in the real estate investment and development business for many years. So I've been through the S&L debacle in 1990, the dot-com bust in 2000, 2001, the Great Recession in 2008, and of course the COVID recession was not related to anything but health. So we have these downturns. And technology goes like this. But anyone that thinks that suddenly any place else in the world is suddenly going to become the champion of technology is nuts. It's not going to happen, I don't think, in anybody in this room's lifetime. Now, we'll have our ups and downs, as I mentioned, we always have during my career. But as I said, AI and things like that, we usually lead those kinds of things. A lot of companies fail, but most of them survive and to good and better times, and that's what we're going to have. Rod?
Larry, first, thank you. As Carl mentioned, I think you are the longest-serving elected official in the history of the county, and that's quite a credit to you and the voters of our valley. They did the right thing. And I would like to invite a guest who is the brain trust in our family to ask you a question.
Thank you for the introduction. As an emissary somewhat from San Francisco, I will tell you, tourism changed in San Francisco a bit prior to the pandemic when the cruise ship terminal opened. So every day in San Francisco, there are actually thousands of tourists there. Gigantic cruise ships are docking on the Embarcadero. They stay on the ships, so they don't stay in hotels. They do eat out, they do shop, and they go to cultural events and so on. So just an interesting point. I know this because it's across the street from my office, and I run into these folks every day in the Ferry Building. More to the point, though, you seem to point out alternative uses for shopping malls, large corporate campuses, commercial real estate, data centers. There's talk in San Francisco of conversion of malls to educational or lab facilities for the universities and so on, distribution centers. Do you think this will even out to occupy and reuse some of these empty commercial spaces?
I do. I had to cut my speech down because of the Rotary time frames, but one of the things I talk about is the conversion of malls particularly to all kinds of things, from museums to even transitional space for the homeless, but all kinds of different uses. And, you know, real estate people are creative, particularly when they're dying. And I know that because I've been through a couple of those cycles, but and so we will do things creatively around here in order to make things last and stay. I have no doubt this is not going to be a ghost town, but different uses for different properties. So I said, we can convert, I think, Class A and Class B and some smaller floor plate things. Take a large, you know, multi-story modern office building, that can't be converted to residential. Heard something the other day, though. The office buildings are being used a little bit in what they call vertical agriculture. They're growing vegetables in these office buildings. That you can do in a large plated office building. That remains to be seen if it catches on, but it's just beginning to start.
We're going to end with lightning round, Art, and then final question, Nicholas. If we can get brief questions, brief answers, it would be great. Thank you.
Thanks. Larry, with AI happening, taking jobs, where are these 16,000 people going to find employment?
You know what I think? I mean, if this all happens, the idea, we had a presidential candidate that talked about a guaranteed income. I think if you had that much unemployment and you didn't have some kind of guaranteed income, you would have riots. It would be very bad. So ultimately, if it all happens, I think you're going to hear a lot about a guaranteed income.
Nicholas.
Larry, thanks for your comments today. You mentioned Westfield leaving the U.S. market in their malls, and we just also heard that Pacific Retail Capital Partners sold Eastridge, San Jose's first indoor mall, built in the 70s, just a couple weeks ago. Do you see, and that was a foreign investor who came in to purchase Eastridge. Do you see more foreign capital pouring into the shopping mall space in this valley and throughout California? Los Angeles is seeing foreign capital pour into its hotels currently. What's your crystal ball telling you?
Larry, make this answer really brief, if you would.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer to that because I don't follow that market. Market is very mild, but when things are down, opportunists take over. And so we're going to see a lot of property bought very cheaply for those people that have capital and understand the business.
Larry?
One final question from Clarence Stone. He had this whiny little pouty face on. And so I couldn't deal with that for the next year. So Clarence, go ahead. Final question.
Yeah,
Larry,
hey, Clarence, are you related to Larry Stone at all?
Boo! Well, Larry, I had to literally do this to get him to bring the microphone.
It worked, so just ask the damn question, would you?
Larry, can you talk a little bit about Santa Clara County's budget and the state budget and where they are?
Santa Clara or Santa Cruz?
Santa Clara County.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are facing a $250 million budget deficit, and we're every department in the county, including my own, and we're about revenue, so it doesn't make so much sense to cut my staff, but every one of us are accepting some reduction in our employees, which is a large part of the deficit. But it's going to be tough, very tough. And the services will be cut, not only in Santa Clara County, but in other cities. 50% of all property tax revenue goes to support public schools. So the public schools suffer the most when revenue goes down. Thank you very much. I enjoyed being here.
Please thank Larry. And as usual, we are making a contribution in Larry's name to Loaves and Fishes. I wanted to finish by reading one of my favorite quotations from Theodore Roosevelt. It's not the critic who counts, not the one who points out how the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again. I can particularly relate to that one. Comes up short again and again. Who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotion, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who best knows at the end of the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that this place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So let's all go fight in the arena. Thanks.